Video title appears, Inclusive Technologies and Multi-Tiered Systems of Support.
Many districts are already working within a multi-tiered system of support, but inclusive technology is often not considered part of the equation. In a three-tiered model of instruction, we're all familiar with thinking about the universal level of instruction, or Tier 1, the supplemental level of instruction, Tier 2, and the intensive level of instruction, or Tier 3. The truth is, inclusive technology should be thought about in the exact same way, with considerations for all, some, and few. Unfortunately, right now, some people misconstrue the top of that triangle as special education, and they may only think about technology as something for the few in that top tier. But this is not the case. Really, special education supports, a big part of which are those inclusive technologies, should be provided throughout all the tiers. That includes all three types of inclusive technology: accessible materials, accessible technologies, and assistive technology. Let's take a look at how we can think about the use of inclusive technology at each tier. At the universal level, Tier 1, instruction should be proactively designed with strategies that remove or reduce barriers for all students. That could mean using features like text-to-speech, word prediction, text highlighting, and even citation support. Or maybe offering and encouraging the use of a verbal response tool on a learning management system for class discussion. As Dr. George Batch, the father of RTI, now known as MTSS, once said, "The universal level of instruction is the high tide that floats all boats." At Tier 2, the goal is to remove barriers that may affect only certain groups of students. The idea is to teach them how to use features so they can re-engage in the classroom at Tier 1. So this could be teaching the use of a translation tool to a group of Ukrainian refugee students, for example. Then, at Tier 3, the goal is to continue to remove barriers that are very specific and individualized to a particular student. That could mean working with a student with ADHD during their check-in connect to use their calendar as a visual schedule for A and B schedule days. And across all tiers, when we're procuring the instructional materials, whether you plan to use technology or not, those materials should be accessible for the students using them, whether it's Braille, closed captions, large print, or another format. Also across all tiers, educators should be collaboratively planning not only with other grade level or content teams, but also across general education and special education.
Perfect.
Special educators, in particular, bring a different lived experience to the planning process that can help in this endeavor. So this can definitely seem like a lot of work, but if we don't make efforts to use the technology that we have available to us, we can get into situations where the technology in the classroom could help students for the rest of their lives, but we're not using it. For example, a middle school student that has dyslexia and is served on an IEP might be paired with an adult reader who's going to read their textbook to them, when most likely the Chromebook sitting on their desk has the capability to read that information aloud to them, and is something they can use in a variety of different settings across their day when that adult isn't sitting by their side. Now, let's close with 3 steps you can take to start using inclusive technology in your MTSS. First, take a look at your current MTSS policy. How does it talk about technology across the different tiers? Next, check your district in building leadership teams. Are the perspectives of ed tech and assistive technology represented? And finally, make sure families, particularly families of students with disabilities, understand how technology can help their learners. Ultimately, MTSS is an all-ed system and should be designed in a way that is inclusive for all students. And inclusive technologies are a way to do just that. On the CITES website, we've provided a set of materials to help you further consider how inclusive technology can support your MTSS. So be sure to check it out. And remember, the future is inclusive.
Text appears. To learn more, visit cites.cas.org. The CITES logo appears. CITES, Center on Inclusive Technology and Education Systems. The CAST logo. CAST, until learning has no limits. Special thanks to Wellesley Public Schools, Massachusetts, Jenks Public Schools, Oklahoma, Mount Vernon Community School District, Iowa, Tomball Independent School District, Texas. The logo for the U.S. Office of Special Education Programs, Ideas That Work. This content was developed under a grant from the U.S. Department of Education, grant number H327T180001. However, the contents do not necessarily represent the policy of the U.S. Department of Education, and you should not assume endorsement by the federal government. Project Officer, Anita Vermeer, Master of Education. This video is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0 International License, 2023.